Generative AI, common sense machine, this will be the clone trooper case study. So we see the reference image over here, and we're going to see that this will be the output. So we see the generated parts. We're going to see over here for the pistol and for the other Lego components. Now, I'm not going to go over here on the website into details regarding each model, but I will download this as a whole kit. And I will try to assemble those within Blender. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. I'm going to jump within Blender. I'm going to press A to delete the default elements. And I will go to File, Import, and the output format will be GLB in this case. So on Downloads, on Asset, this will be the files. So I'm going to select all of those. We see that they all have been generated at the same time. And they will have various size over here. So I'm going to import all of those. And within the viewport in Blender, they will all be overlapped like this. So I will enable the textures, but in this case, I will only go to shading without lighting over here so we can better see those. And let's take a look. This will be the helmet. This will be, as you can see, one of the hands. This will be the torso. And we're also going to have one of the hands over here. So, and we also have the pistol. So I'm going to move that a little bit over here. Now, let's see how we can align these components. Now, we see that over here, since this should be Lego parts, they cannot actually be fitted together. So the Generative AI tool didn't take into account that. But let's see. Initially, I want to center these two. So they look quite centered, but I will go within Align Tools, within Blender, and I'm going to align those on the X-axis over here. For the head as well. So I'm going to go and slightly position those where they should be assembled. Over here we see that these two components of the head and the torso will look like this, but if you're going to take a look within the reference, they should actually be fitted over here. So I will just slightly put this like this, or I have the possibility to select the bottom over here and I can scale it a little bit. So let's try the second approach. I'm going to select those and have the possibility to scale those. But if I will do this directly onto this mesh, I'm going to have some problems regarding the topology. So I can either go within sculpting and I can plateau this with various brushes. So there is a little bit of workaround in order to fix that. Therefore, I will just slightly position it like this. Now, let's take a look at the arms. So this will be one of those. I'm gonna position it into position. So something like this. Now I want to rotate this onto this axis. I'm gonna go within the front view and I will slightly align this. From the side, it's quite aligned, but we see over here that it will need a little bit of rotation. In this case, onto this axis, but I will change the pivot point to be somewhere over here. So I'll go to Object, Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. And now if I'm going to rotate this on the Y-axis, the arm should move like this. I can slightly align this on the Y-axis. And now I can use the mirror tool in order to generate the other arm over here. So I want the reference to be the torso, and those should be those hands. I can slightly position them like this, and we're going to see that we can now rotate those around. If I want them to be individual at the end, I can apply the mirror, I can have those splitted. So in order to do that, I can apply the mirror, I can press Tab, A, P, and I want to isolate by loose parts. But in this case, we're going to see that isolate by loose parts, Blender will actually consider this to be loose parts. So I will have to join all of those segments together. I still have a floating mesh over here. So I can go, I can right click, I can hit join, and those will now be a single element. If I will move this, we're going to see that a little bit of that arm will still be over here. So I'm going to join those two as well. And now within the reference, we had this with black. So since CSM generated this with black, I can remove that. So I can select that over here. We see that there are quite a lot of isolated meshes generated over here. So there are quite a lot of floating geometry. And now this will be the hand. I can scale it down and I can add it into position. So slightly scaled. I can also change the origin in this case to the geometry. So that will be straight in the middle. And now I can start aligning that. I'm just going to move the pistol over here so I can better see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move it like this. And now I want to rotate it onto this axis. And I want it to be slightly bigger. I want this now to go within the local axis because I want to have the possibility to align it over here. Now we see that within the reference, one hand with the pistol should be a little bit upwards. So therefore I'm just going to slightly make this one that. Now regarding the local and the global, I will need to swap that in order to move this hand something like this. And now I will just align this. We can also link the components together. So we can define that one of those will be a child and the other will be a parent. So we can further go ahead and work with this. I'm just gonna slightly align this so we can add that pistol. As we can see, we still have a little bit of floating geometry that was generated over here. So if I will hide those, this will be the floating geometry. We can select those. And there are still some floating within the air. If I want to link this, I can select this. I can select the arm, press Ctrl L. And in this case, I have the possibility to do a link. So we see we can link it like this, or we can parent this. We can select those, press Ctrl P, and in this case, this will be better to be parented. So I want to set the parent to object keep transformation. That means if I'm going to rotate the arm around, it will also rotate that hand. So I'm just going to center this a little bit better over here. And now we can move that around. And we still have the pistol. So in this case, this hand is a little bit weirdly shaped. As you can see, that cylinder will be over there, and after that we have the following shape. But I'm just going to position the pistol like this. It does look a little bit weird, and we should also fix the other one. We see over here that this doesn't have the proper geometry, as we can see. So this will fit the pistol, but the other hand won't. So we should also change that. And I wanted to make this video in order to showcase how easy we can process this within Blender, because Blender is an amazing software and we can easily process those elements over here. I'm going to set the geometry over here, the origin to geometry, and I can now decide to add that pistol to the hand of the character, and the output will look like this. So what we can also do is delete the other hand over here. So I'm just going to hide those. So I can do a large rectangle selection and I can grab all of those. In this case, I still see some floating elements. They should now be deleted. And now I can copy this and I can move the hand within the other hand. Okay, so the hand model. I should rotate this because it's not, it should be flipped. So like this, and now I want it on the other axis. I want to rotate it on the X, and this will be slightly better aligned. Okay, so it still requires a little bit of fine-tuning, but I'm still impressed that from a single image, which is the following one, CSM managed to create this amazing mesh that we can work together. So It's not great, but if you want to maybe use this for a simple game or a simple VR, AR, mixer reality application, I think this is more than sufficient. We can also correct the texture, so we can do that again within Blender, within Texture Paint. We can correct the geometry, either within the polygon modeling or within the sculpting environment. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this kind of content. I will position a similar video on the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.